This is a Fox News alert. President Obama is getting tough on illegal immigration, but it's not on the illegals. It's on the ICE agents who enforce our immigration laws.
How do you ensure that ICE agents or Border Patrol won't be deporting people like this? I mean, what are the consequences?
Look, the bottom line is that if somebody's working for ICE and there is a policy and they don't follow the policy, there are going to be consequences to it. So I can't speak to a specific problem. What I can talk about is what's true in the government generally. In the U.S. military, when you get an order, you're expected to follow it. It doesn't mean that everybody follows the order. If they don't, they've got a problem. And the same is going to be true with respect to the policies that we're putting forward.
So, Wayne, the president sounds like he's going to be tougher on the ICE agents than the actual illegals coming across the border.
No, what he sounds like, Eric, is a potentate who's issuing orders who says, if you don't agree with the order, I'm going to punish you. Maybe the order is wrong. Maybe he's wrong, but he doesn't question that. He just sends out a directive, signs his name, you know, and uses the telephone in his pen and says, that's the order, and if you don't follow it, there are going to be consequences. That's like a sovereign potentate who's a dictator. He's wrong, and he should let the Congress handle this.
Lisa, part of the policy that the president outlined right there was talking about, he said, the criminals have to go back first. Now, it kind of insinuates if you're not a criminal, you can stay.
Well, that's exactly what it does. But are you surprised from a president who called illegal immigrants Americans in waiting? Look, this is a president who has incited illegal immigration, and he's tougher on our law enforcement than he is on illegal immigrants. You know, it's his 2012 executive order that really incited the border along the crisis along the border that we saw over the summer, and he just moved forward with unilateral executive action on immigration, granting amnesty to millions of illegal immigrants. So, look, we are a nation of immigrants, but we're also a nation of laws.
Hold
and
on,
it's time
Johnny,
for the president to wake up and enforce those laws.
I want to get Juan in here, Juan, because it sounds like he talked tough on ICE. Not on illegals. He talked tough on the ICE agents, almost tougher on ICE than ISIS.
I can't believe this. This is a matter of law and order. This is the government of the United States. This is a show.
Stop.
Your show is all about the Constitution.
You just said law and order.
Law and order.
They're breaking the law coming across the border.
I'm telling you, he's talking to ICE agents as employees of the U.S. government who should follow the U.S. law and should follow a civilian
the law
of hierarchy.
Does that supersede the people breaking the law crossing the border? Isn't that the first line of defense of law and order?
That's not the issue. You're changing the issue. He's talking about not deporting people on a different basis than the new order requires. That's all he's saying. It's not about people crossing the border.
Part of the problem is deportations on the President Obama means if you catch them at the border and tell them to go back, that is in their term a deportation. They're counting those as deportations.
You know, they've changed this, and it is no longer the case that if you catch somebody at the border that they have some right immediately, unless they are, as in the case of last summer, a child who might have been sexually traded.
All right, go ahead, John.
Well, I just think it's totally reprehensible to equate illegal immigrants with ISIS, with enemies of this country. I mean, Islamists, terrorists, they destroy the West. But immigrants, we should be welcoming, Eric. They come to work, to be productive. They benefit the country.
John,
so I don't believe the president
should be... compare them to each other. I compared the president's response to ISIS versus his response to ICE agents. Not the illegals, ICE agents.
Well, great. His response should be to welcome the illegals. And I think to Lisa's point, he's tougher on Iran than on illegals. Thankfully, I mean, Iran is an avowed enemy of this country. The government's role is to protect us, but not protect us from immigrants who want to come here, work, be productive, and not suck on the quote-unquote system.
Okay, go ahead, Wayne.
Oh, you say illegals. Jonathan, I thought you were for law and order. I thought you respected law. You start a sentence with the word illegal.
Moral
You're
law.
wrong, my friend.
The right law. I could point to a lot of laws in our history, Wayne, which were totally immoral, totally wrong, and were changed for good reason. So, no, I don't think respect for authority is a reason to keep an immoral law on the books.
All right.
No, so don't obey the law. Just make it up as you go along. Are you crazy?
All right, let me get Lisa in here. Tie this up. We got to go. Go ahead, Lisa.
Well, no, what President Obama's done is undermine the Constitution and undermine the rule of law by moving forward with this executive action. This isn't something that was passed by Congress. This wasn't something that was was done the way it should by being passed through Congress. This is something that President Obama himself said over 20 times that he legally could not do.
You know what? He did it because this Congress failed to act, and it's not a new law. It's within his prerogative to act in terms of how he applies and sets priorities.
Under major debate. All right, we're going to have to leave it right there. Coming up, jet-setting celebs not happy with the president who just vetoed the Keystone Pipeline. They want more time to call out their hypocrisy once and for all.